let's get in the first part of this Earth Day. As you know, we are talking and we're just conveying. Our conversation is only on our these kinds of new vocab or anything like that. So keep watching, keep learning, keep growing to this channel. And if you feel like it's convenient for you and for the other people, that keep sharing to among the people, among the people where are connected with you. That how so we are actually sharing something that kind of knowledge with some thread that has to be so perspicacious. So if that is so perspicacious, people will come. So it has different kinds of that kind of past vibes. And that's really matters within it. So that's why people. So if there is nothing like perspicacious things, nobody's feeling like it's I have to get that things. So people are feeling ambiguous. How to get that things, and they're not even getting that somber decisions even in that realist way. So that's why so that at this time, if someone is saying that kind of perspicacious things, then everybody like to get that things. So that's why I have to recommend that uh, if something is like how if you are so indefatigable person, even in that case, you have to work for your progress in your career. And if you have even that kind of indefatigable uh, condition, yeah, condition, mental condition you have, you have to, if you have been through it, and because of your there has to be something, like there has to behind, like there were a lot of things behind, like your inner inspiration, discipline, consistency, persistency, or perseverance, or positive attitude toward your uh, what your discipline, or everything's matter except these things. One thing's matter, that your what the willingness to do that things. So no matter what kind of thing is that's you don't the one thing you remember, that you are not over here to make excuses or anything like that. Who would care about you, man, if you're just making excuses, and one day you're gonna blame yourself for not to be that person. You are not even taking a single step ahead, because in that case, how can you expect, and anticipating all these kinds of things even in your life can be so distinct and disgusting. So you have to what if so, you have to make yourself like inscrutable. You are not even you are not gonna be understood by anyone, or the interpretation, illustration of your self has to be different and drastic, better than other people. The existence of yourself is not for the people. You are over here for you and for your family, that and only that things that matter in this contemporary generation. So otherwise who would care about us, man? So sometimes you have to what juxtapositate something. If you have to feel like I have to supplement these things instead of these things, which is better. We have to take that, and we have to go through that way of path. We will feel like it's really fascinating and astonishing. That's why we come to work over it. So that's really matters. So if you feel like it's really tedious and hideous, then how could you work? We feel like it is better if I go ahead without working, without even uh, hardworking, or being and following that conscientiousness, perseverance over, and you come to feel like you actually gonna lose the control over from your what your mentality or anything like that. We don't know, but what will happen? This it is only it all these things are matter with your psychological things. If you come to affect your psychology, then everything comes to affect. So impact of all these things can be distinct, but somehow if you have control over all these things, then no one ever could deserve that kind of perpetual successful journey, or that kind of solitary path. If you are actually choosing this path instead, the people who is choosing over here, throughout their life, what the discipline, in that case the people are the destined. They are known as destined person. And what if you're a non-silent person, what kind of things you will get, man? So otherwise people just come to recognize and consider you as a really good and mortal person, because they feel like you have special, or in the same way, special, uh, mystical, and that kind of moral things and characteristics dimension within you, and that is the point of being to identifying a person. Somehow it can be distinct and somehow it can be uh, difficult, but somehow they feel like they actually came to know you, so that's better. To being a non-silent and calm, sometimes even being if you come to being concerned for something, that is actually better. If you're not even being concerning about, you're not concerning about your career, and then you're just wasting, you're taking just advantage of this, of your this time, this precious time. This time is not gonna back in your life, so then how can you get that things in the future? So it is better if you come to know the value of this present time in time, you know so everything has limits, so never ever cross that kind of limitation, restrictions, or weaknesses, but keep working on your weaknesses. One day you will, all these things will ameliorate, and the improvement of all over all these things can be really luminous and lightening, and somehow it can be literally sparkling, and it has to be. So that's why uh, don't consider yourself as immutable things, so you have to change, you have to be changeable and dynamic. If you are not dynamic, then who cares, man? If you in that case you come to stay as a same person, your mentality, and what will change in your life? There nothing occur in your mentality like that kind of changes we can see. And if you can't adapt all these things, your new technology or that kind of things, that kind of innovation or strategy policies, but all these things are, you are not able to get all these things in your within you, as a person you can accept, adapt. In that case, uh, you can't able to pontificate, never. So that pontificating ahead of other people can be really distinct and really tough for you. So, no, so somehow you come to say, I have to convince myself, I had convinced, ahead of the people, ahead of God, but somehow you were really awkward. You feel like that was a lack of, that was different kinds of shame, embarrassment, awkwardness that I ever felt in my life. So all these things matter, but one thing you mustn't have to forget, that you have to keep everything within you as salient thing. Salient thing are really matters in life. So if you're not you're just neglecting the significant important, really have a crucial and essential thing in life, but you're just keeping the positive within, you are in the process of keeping the all positive within your mind, and the these kinds of what activities are really killing your mind, your sensitive, what that kind of nerves, the nerves are invisible, but they are within you, in your mind, within your body. But if you come to damage all this, even your mentality, even your physical health, then how can you compete with people, and you, how can you expect, how can you anticipate to dominate this what in this in this society, who don't ever care about anyone? So if you wanna go ahead, then you have first, you have to learn to keep working alone. So if you once you learn to keep uh, once you learn to what live alone, and that will be your first point of being and turning into someone, that you ever imagine. So all this will matter when you actually make and consider and recognize yourself as a immutable person, and even if you are not, then you are actually working for to become that person. So all these things matter, except these things, nothing matter. So always go with the perspicacious things, even if you like, even you don't feel like you are not a perspicacious person, and whatever you are doing in your life and executing and performing, that's not how perspicacious. But somehow you will get away from all these kinds of things whenever you feel like you get whatever you feel, whatever you used to feel, or even in a tough situation conditions. But you one day you come to feel like it was nothing, but somehow I was feeling, somewhat I feeling it was really high and tough, so but there were no anymore complexities, complicated things, and perplexed situation and condition occurred in my life. But I simply passed all these things without any hesitations. That kind of what overthinking mentality wasn't. If you go through your overthinking mentality, what you will get after overthinking, you are gonna get nothing in there is nothing within this overthinking. So you have to think up to limit. There has everything has limit.